champion, as the tournament was never staged again. He's looking for a first appearance in the last 4 since his run to the final of the Turkish Masters way back in 2022. But today his test is a stern one. He needs no introduction, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Won everything there is to win in the game and would love to tick this box come Sunday and get his hands on the trophy. He hasn't really had to get out of second gear so far this week. An aggregate score of 20 frames won and 3 frames lost tells you everything you need to know about this man. And there's the roar. The crowd are absolutely loving this. A privilege to witness this man at the table, doing what he does best. A genius. Ronnie O'Sullivan enters the arena. First to 5 again for a place in the semis. The Xi'an Grand Prix coming to you live and free on Matchroom Live. WST.tv for Table 2 live scores. World champion Kyron Wilson taking on China's last man standing, 26-year-old Zhu Si. Fergal O'Brien alongside me once again, and it's right, isn't it? Ronnie just has not been tested so far this week, but Matthew Selt, a very experienced professional, very tactically astute, has the knowledge and ability to put in a winning performance, but can he execute it? Can he beat Ronnie in a part of the world where he loves competing and so often so many others have failed against him?
Thank you, Stephen. Yes, so far Ronnie's made serene progress through this tournament. Only lost 3 frames. Whereas Matt had to work a lot harder. He's been in the trenches in a few games. Not for the first time this week we've seen the value of a good break-off. Or on the other side, how costly it is to leave this red. It's a shot you fully expect the pros to pot. And not only that, you have to fully expect that they might make a frame-winning break from it. I've mentioned it a good few times, but it's becoming so important. The standard of play, not to leave a red from the break-off. It's the ideal start for Matthew.
4. 5.
It's going to be a battle of skills and wills for Matthew today. Question is, has he the game to compete? And then has he got the self-belief to win?
Hasn't got a good head-to-head record against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Matthew Selt, 4-0, Ronnie leads. This, of course, a big occasion for Matt. Big occasion for everyone involved in this last 8. Chance to book your place in the semi-finals with the possibility of continuing. Prize money continues to get bigger and bigger as well as the event goes on. I just get the impression from Matt, it's not about the prize money, it's not about anything, it's more about the performance itself, telling himself or realising himself that he's able to compete with these best players. You know, if this game was on table 8, you would fancy Matt getting a result, but the fact it's out there in the arena on table 1, under the lights, that's the question he's asking himself. Can I do it when it matters most?
Yeah, just a couple of flies around the table area, just slightly distracting Matthew. Lovely start. out of his comfort zone today. So as soon as possible, he wants to feel as comfortable as he can. This little contribution is helping him do that. Of course, he'd love to win the frame in this visit. But even if he didn't, he's well settled into the match. Certainly looks very calm. He's mentioned himself that sometimes in the big matches and big occasions, he hasn't performed the way he would want it. Went into his shell slightly.
25.
Got a very good all-round game. Seems to be improving all the time. I think working with Chris Henry certainly helped on the mental side as well, because, as you know, Stephen, he can be a little bit emotional, let's say.
Yeah, he's never shied away from letting us know exactly how he feels, or never shied away from exploding out there in the arenas. Wears his heart on his sleeve, Matthew Selt. He's going to have to control all that today if he's going to get a result. This is a good start. And that's a good split. Deserves to be on one. And he is. Okay, he's pushed the pink and black out of commission.
31.
But he's got the reds in open play. If he's able to keep himself on the blue, that will be fine.
Played that really well. Hit that red. That was on the pink spot. Absolutely full ball. And as a result of that, that's why he's able to keep that white right in the middle of the table.
32.
Just lost the white a fraction there. Obviously wanted to be just off straight. And as a result of that, if he plays the blue, he'd have to play a little cannon. Didn't fancy it. That's why he's playing a slightly more difficult green.
Another very good shot from Matthew Selt. That green made a little bit harder, down to the fact he
35.
should have been nicer on the blue. Cued it perfectly, cued it confidently. Good signs for Matt. Be good for Matt to win this frame actually in one visit here and now, because that would just set the tone for him, just let Ronnie know that he is in a match. We've alluded at the top of the show that Ronnie just has not been tested. Only dropped 3 frames and hasn't at all played that well himself.
36.
This, I feel, is a much different test for Ronnie.
Yeah, you can see that little grimace from Matt there. From the red he played, he should have been high on the blue. Would you expect him to pot the blue, but all of a sudden, position's not guaranteed. Plus, he's working a little bit harder. Really have to take time out for thinking when your positional play is not so good. Whereas when it's perfect, you can literally fall from shot to shot.
41.
I think he's accepted the fact that pink and black are out of commission and just get busy with the blue here. Reds are opened up nicely.
$42.
Same issue again. He's quite straight on the blue. Doesn't have a great angle to power it around, so as a result, he's looking at maybe just screwing back a fraction, seeing rolling through. Where exactly would he like to be? Again, having a look at the pink and black there. But has the option, of course, if he wanted, of maybe playing a more difficult green to get down. I think from shot there. He's just going to settle for more or less leaving the white there. As a right-hander stretching across. This is just unnecessary work, unnecessary pressure he's put himself under just because he hasn't got the cue ball under control.
47.
Well, it's made the difference. We was right down the line of that cue there, and
Measure Selt.
the moment Matt got
47.
down, he didn't look like he was quite on the line. He came across it and he's missed it. Be very disappointed with that. Not the miss itself necessarily, but the previous shot, to leave himself having to play that red from that distance. So can Ronnie dig out a chance here? No. Much to the relief of Matthew Selt.
One.
Nice shot there to get high on the blue. And he will be relieved after missing that red.
Six. 7.
It's obvious to say against the greatest player of all time, you need a good start. I think that's particularly the case for Matthew. Not necessarily just in this arena. It's such a big match, but also his head-to-head record. He played 4 times. He's lost all 4,
12.
including not just a 3-0, but a 6-0 defeat to Ronnie. So has to try and stamp his authority. Try and show Ronnie that he's not intimidated. He has the self-belief. It's been a good first frame, but he's going to need 4 more really good frames.
18.
I feel he's going to have to more or less play his best game to
19.
win today.
Good ball.
Yeah, the perfect start for Matthew Selt. I can't imagine Ronnie will be getting out of his chair. So the initial mistake from Matt when he broke down wasn't punished by Ronnie. Matthew Selt leads 1-0. Their first meeting came in 2014 in the last 16 of the UK Championships. Ronnie got off to a blistering start, ended up winning that match 6-0. The game got away from Matt very quickly. Ronnie made a maximum break in that game, so it was very important for Matthew to win that opening frame.
Poor break off by Matthew that time, but got away with it. Ronnie didn't pot that red. Yeah, you can see this red is potable, certainly. Could have very easily played just a dump shot there. And maybe against another player he might have. But just might feel the need to be on offensive. Probably fearful of taking a backward step. Shown weakness against Ronnie. That can be a fine line as well. Doesn't want to take unnecessary risks. But what you mightn't deem it a chance against other players, you feel you might have to just gamble a little bit more against Ronnie. Just less likely to get an absolute sitter for starters.
That was a brilliant opening red from Ronnie. You could see from right behind the shot there, the camera angle, there was hardly any opening of the middle bag there for Ronnie to aim at. So, first chance to see just how Ronnie is striking the ball today. He's always such a silky operator. But your first chance, first good scoring chance is always important. Came through his match yesterday against Hossein Vafai with ease, 5-0. Made a couple of century breaks as well, Ronnie. You can see him just a little glance at the back of that pack, a couple of reds available to him. He'd like to possibly just remove one of those reds and then attack the pack from the black, knowing that he's got another red available to him. The red just directly above the black was the ideal one to remove. That gives him free access to the back of the pack now.
28. 29.
You can see he was just trying to manipulate that, get a bit of angle out of this black. He was quite straight on the red. Wasn't able to get low enough.
$36. $37.
Well, it made the difference in the end a few moments ago. Not getting low on the black meant he couldn't go into the black when he had the loose red at the back, which would have been nearly guaranteed to have landed on. He's on nothing.
Ronnie started with 43.
Interesting little shot there from Ronnie. Traditionally, the safety trying to leave it on the ball cushion. But I like to put it at the side of the table. Have that cover with the ball colours. I think if Matthew can hit the red, I think it's only on the left-hand side.
Well, that's a very poor shot from Matthew Selt. You can see clearly he's left the red for Ronnie. He'll be disgusted by that one.
Yeah, that kind of shot is nearly similar to a black ball game shot. Just put the red in this instance on the cushion. Obviously didn't have to concern himself with the white.
Wow.
However, he's had a massive let off there. It's an easy pot. Easy positional play as well. You can see Matthew there coming across. If he can get a nice angle on the blue. Just looking at that outside red on the right. Or maybe going into the pack that side.
One.
Just wonder if Matt maybe feels like he's on a bit of a free roll now. Any of you at home listening in, if you've been on the World Snooker Tour social medias over the past few days, you may have seen a clip of, well, goodness me. Oh, dear me. You didn't see that one, did you, Fergal?
No.
Matthew Selt 1.
As soon as he
Ronnie Selt 5.
made contact with the red, you could hear him going, no. But you could say it's a little bit unlucky without being too harsh. If he had a better angle on the blue, he wouldn't have had to play that shot. So maybe he gave chance for bad luck to happen. However, another poor shot from Ronnie has given Matt another chance here. It's important he maximise these chances best he can. Ronnie won't keep making these mistakes throughout the best of 9.
One.
Brilliant pot from Selt. And yeah, just going back to what I was saying about the clip on World Snooker social medias, the match between himself and Joe O'Connor, it was actually pulled off. They had to come back later on in the evening, but there was a shot in that game at 4-3 down. Matthew Selt had to pot a green, which, well, it was a joke how good it was, put it that way. If you've not seen it, head over to the WST social medias, check that out. And that is potentially the reason why Matthew feels he's on a free roll. If he misses that green, which it was probably a 1 in 50 green he's potted, he'd have been on the flight home by now. Forced the decider and then won it. Now he's here.
Matthew Selt 8.
Wasn't all that nice on that red to middle. And a possible counter-attack has gone. Ronnie now with a chance to snip this one in the middle pocket. Already a healthy lead in this frame.
Eight. Nine.
Hasn't been tested really at all this week.
15.
First 2 opponents were quite young and inexperienced. And Xi'an, particularly Hussein Fai, were dispatched, but you certainly still feel he's a lot left. while there's obviously a greater threat of losing against this opponent, if he can get through it, it's going to be a much better
22.
workout for him with the weekend to come.
23.
And he's just kept so much in the tank throughout all his matches. As you say, not tested, so thoroughly expect Ronnie to just keep going through the gears this weekend, if he can get
31.
there. Best players in the world, all so very good at
38.
turning it on when it matters most. And similar to the first frame for Matthew Selt, a couple of scoring visits for Ronnie O'Sullivan, more than enough to secure the second frame. He levels things up here in Xi'an. It's one apiece.
Third frame. Runners are going to break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan breaking off in the third frame here at the Xi'an Esports Centre. A race to 5 to book a place in the semi-finals. Matthew Selt just has to respond to that frame from Ronnie. Again, doesn't want to let Ronnie get a foothold in this game. Wants to try and keep him under it for as long as possible, if he can.
Very fortunate there, Ronnie, not to leave a red or even an easy red. Seems counterproductive if you're going to go to the trouble of deliberately breaking off with your left hand and then you still hit the blue. His break off in the first frame is poor as well, so that's something he'll need to tighten up on. Well, that's a crazy shot. Talked about being aggressive, being on the front foot. You don't want to take a backward step, but there's a balance. The percentages of potting that were very low, and if you did miss it, you can more or less guarantee you'd leave something.
One might consider that to be extremely high tariff. What a selection from Matthew Selt.
Yeah, you could see him. It looked like he was lining it up, but you still couldn't believe he was actually going to play it. And to be honest, he's very fortunate he hasn't left running something easier.
One.
But that shot selection is just a pure byproduct of the pressure and reputation of his opponent. He wouldn't have played that against anyone else. But must feel he has to do something extra, something special. He doesn't. He just has to play really good percentage snooker. When he gets his chance, maximise them.
8.
But all he's doing here is just playing into Ronnie's hands.
And that black
9.
we just saw Ronnie float in there. Another demonstration of his beautiful control around this business end of the table. Just floating it in, using the pace of the black to get the cue ball back perfect. And now he's
16.
plumb. Matthew Selt has done all the work for Ronnie
17.
in this frame. And I would be very surprised if in a few moments' time Ronnie hasn't scored enough to have already won this frame.
$24. 25. 32.
Highest break of the event, still held by Mark Williams.
33.
Actually made that 140 break of his in the qualifiers. Highest break here in the arena this week, 138 by Tepchaya and New. Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. He's on the black and he's keeping himself there.
41. 48. 49.
A little bit careless there. You see the red just about went in, and as a result, the white ball didn't come over far enough. A good pot, but because the pot was quite difficult,
56.
didn't want to compromise the pot for the positional side of it. Yeah, you can see the shaking of the head there. Just trying to work out what exactly to play. Probably also taking a couple of seconds just to compose himself. He'll be very frustrated. Making a couple of positional errors from point blank range. Very unlike him.
Ronnie starting with 56.
Never looked comfortable at all there. That would be relieved that that very poor shot selection hasn't cost him the frame. I know myself from working with Chris Henry, who Matt also does, gave good advice. You want to be the casino rather than be the punter. Such a low percentage shot that Matt played. Try and always have the percentages in your favour.
And that was a very tough pot for Matthew Selt to take on. If he was right behind it, you may have fancied him, but he was slightly further away, and having to play it with pace to get out for the black, that was very difficult indeed. And straight away he hands a chance back to Ronnie. He's not happy with something on his cue, possibly a little hair or something stuck in the grain. Just again setting himself.
1. 8. 9. $16. 17. 23. 24. 27. 28.
'So plenty for Matthew Selt to think about while he sits in his chair and watches on. This frame has quickly disappeared from him. A couple of sketchy shot selections from Matt, and they've been heavily punished. Ronnie O'Sullivan steaming very quickly into a 2-1 lead. Big frame coming up for Matthew Selt. This, the final one before the interval. The Rocket leads 2-1.
Frame 4. Matthew Selt to break.
Matthew Selt, Indian Open champion, former Indian Open champion, reigning Indian Open champion. That event has not been staged since. Breaking off in what he hopes is a frame. He's going to keep his hopes alive in this match. Doesn't want to see himself go 3-1 down to Ronnie O'Sullivan, who is just in cruise control at the moment.
Important frame here from Matt. See on the scoreboard, doesn't want to be 3-1 down, but also just calm himself down. Just getting a little bit emotional, you would say. Just not thinking as clearly as he should be.
1.
And he's more than capable of winning this match. You just got to stay calm, play the balls rather than his opponent. Trust himself.
Just trying to work out this little dilemma he's got here. He's lower on the black than he would have liked. Cue ball looks to be running into, if not close to, the red. And that was the issue that he was trying to solve there, Matthew Selt. Just what sort of contact he was going to get on the red and where he was going to push it.
Yeah, the fact it was just that little bit low. Didn't really want to gamble playing the full aggressive shot. Could have went to play the black a lot harder and opened the pack up.
But then you look at the shot he played in the previous frame where he had pretty much barely any chance of getting a result from it. The red from distance going through the pack of reds, that was an opportunity for him to do that there. Much more of a percentage shot.
Matthew set to 8.
Snooker is a simple game, but playing simple snooker is the hardest thing there is. Say maybe it's going in. I thought maybe the wrong choice. Again, maybe he hit it quite badly. Maybe he had that himself in the back of his mind. It mightn't have been the best shot selection.
1.
The issue I have with those, not only the low percentage to pot, but when you miss, you're giving the best player of all time, who's in great form, such an easy starter. It'd be literally like trying to beat Usain Bolt, but giving him a head start, just making it nearly impossible.
I think it's clear to see, it's evident that Matthew Selt
6.
has almost set his stalls out today, that he's going to attack at any given opportunity, which somewhat surprises me. A player that I rate very, very highly in the tactical department, Matthew Selt, obviously feels that he may not be able to compete with Ronnie in that department.
6.
Possibly trying to take the game to him, but so far it's not worked. I suppose yesterday he would have spent a lot of time thinking about this match, trying to devise a game plan. How do I beat the best player of all time?
Four.
They're all big matches. 177 smackaroon is available for the winner of this event come Sunday. The players are guaranteed 22,000 and change currently. Jumps up to 34 and a half.
A little bit careless there from Matt. Should have been parallel with the black. If he's parallel in the black, he could have went into the pack. Against those little, asking the question, how does he win today? By maximising the chances when they come. Small margins, attention to detail. That's the world he's going to have to live in today against Ronnie. Recovered it nicely. He's straight enough he can roll through to leave that angle on the black.
$21.
Just coming across there just to have a look at what kind of contact he'd like on this red. Yeah. Probably could have done with being a fraction lower on the black.
28.
And as a result of that, I hit them quite hard. I hit it so hard. The backspin didn't take effect until effectively too late. Should have been more of a stun shot into the pack rather than a screw. But he will take encouragement from the fact that he is getting chances.
Selt, 28.
Again, you don't have to win the frame in one visit. And this is certainly an important frame. It's hard to see him winning from 3-1 down.
One. Ronnie Sullivan, 1.
Well, an uncharacteristic miss. It was a tough pot from Ronnie. He sort of flopped off the shot very quickly there. You knew as soon as it struck that black was not heading towards its desired destination. So Matthew Selt quickly back to the table, looking to try and kill off this frame now. He's already equalled last season's best performance in a ranking event here. Just being in the quarterfinals. That was the best stage he got to last season at the English Open, where he lost 5-1 to Judd Trump. As pretty much everyone lost to Judd Trump last season. But Matthew Selt kick-starting this campaign with a good run, but that is not a good shot.
Ronnie Sullivan, 7.
And worse, the fact there's a red available for Ronnie O'Sullivan, so not an easy table. You can see quite awkward. Few balls already safe. Little cluster of 3 will need tending to. But it's a chance to just get some points on the board, get back into this frame.
One.
Well, he's not the best on this pink now. Does he try and go into the 3 reds? Can he get enough on the cue ball? He has done. No, he's gone past them. Good attempt.
7. Ronnie Sullivan, 7.
Matt just coming down to have a look at the reds below the pink, but probably a little bit fearful that he push a red towards the right corner. 16 ahead. Ideally doesn't want to be taking either of those 2 reds off the side cushions.
One.
He's walking a fine line between madness and genius here. It's a tremendous pot, you'd have to say, but I still can't say it's the right shot. Again, why I'm highlighting this is it's out of character for Matt. This isn't how he normally would play. He can score heavy, but he's just a tough, hard match player. Just today, he hasn't been playing the percentage game. Just gambling all the time.
And if he wins this match, we'll look back and say his plan worked, but so far it isn't working. He's digging himself a few chances out, but he's not taking them. And the longer it goes on, you have to feel the worse for Matthew Selt.
One.
Yeah, he should be able to detect that Ronnie's not absolutely on top of his game today. So he doesn't have to play so many risky shots. He's getting chances, and with those chances, if he just more or less pots the balls he should pot, he could win.
Ronnie, that's not even one.
Yeah, they both had a little look to see was he on this red, but you can hear Matthews just say shot to Ronnie. But tell he is covered. And it's a difficult safety shot off the three reds because of that red. He's going to just bide his time and just find some shot. He's just got to be thinking when Ronnie comes to the table on his next shot that he can't pot. Or if he has an option, it's going to be difficult. It's going to require patience and discipline here.
Looking to try and find a containing shot, Matthew Selt, because playing off the three reds back to baulk is fraught with danger. Not only the colours are big obstacles, but the pace of the shot would have to be absolutely spot on as well to prevent leaving that red at least to middle pocket for Ronnie O'Sullivan. The dump shot's not all that easy either. If he tried to dump off the red right of the three, he may be pushing it into the black, so that's no value to him. Just trying to rest up to the reds. All about pace. Looks good. That's very good.
Yeah, that's a great shot. I asked the question, had he the patience and the discipline, not just to play any shot, but try and play the best shot he could in that situation, and he did. That's a very encouraging sign. He may have given control or initiative to Ronnie. That doesn't matter. He's still involved. He said at the start of the frame it was important, obviously, on the scoreboard, but it's just gaining in importance, this frame. Both had chances. Both will be disappointed to lose this frame. And the red in the top half of the table is an issue if you play safety. And if you can get through to that red, you might play off that one, but again, similar to the previous shot, try and it as simple as you can. Just find some shot where Ronnie can't pot, ideally. He could even potentially roll up to those two reds. I know Ronnie will still have the initiative, but he won't pot. It's his priority here. Ronnie's next shot, he does not pot.
And he may have left a red to left middle for Ronnie. You could hear a little something from Matthew Selt as he got up off that shot. He knew straight away that he'd caught it wrong. It's not a straightforward pot for Ronnie, but you can see it does go, and he's got it. So big mistake from Matthew Selt. Took a long time over the shot to just decide on one and didn't execute it well at all.
I think was the right shot to play. And again,
8.
wouldn't really criticize somebody for poor execution. It's easier to criticize someone for poor application or selection.
Nine.
From a poor shot on the black, resulted in needing a good pot, which he got. Okay, just 5 points behind now. Fully expected
11.
to want to win this frame, but he hasn't been as clinical as he would like.
12.
But the ball's ideally situated.
.41 ranking titles Ronnie O'Sullivan
70.
has on his CV, and with every frame won here, he's edging ever closer to lifting this one. Still a very long way to go. Best of 11 semi-final, best of 19 final. But if you take care of business when you can, that's all you can do. Ronnie O'Sullivan
23.
in for a mini steal here.
25. $28.
And with that green, Matthew Selt's hopes of any mistakes from Ronnie now surely gone.
32.
Plenty for Matthew Selt to think about during this 15-minute interval. Back to the drawing board almost. How does he turn this one around? 3-1 down in a race to 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan in a commanding position, as he so often is. 2 more required for a place in the semis for the Rocket. He leads Matthew Selt 3 frames to 1. Warm introduction for the players again as they return after the 15-minute interval. Matthew Selt with it all to do. 3-1 down to the greatest of all time, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Race to 5 for a place in the semi-finals.
3 and 5. Runner starting to break.
Quick score update for you over on table 2 as well. The world champion Kyron Wilson in action against Zhu Si. Looking like he's about to go 3-1 up, Kyron, over there. We'll keep you updated as that match progresses. Of course, WST.tv, you can see all the live scores for yourself, all the stats, the content, social media posts. Keep up to date with everything as it happens.
One.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, no great surprise to see the top players potting that red. 4 of the 5 break-offs have resulted in that red being left. The other time, Ronnie hit the blue. It's something both players will be looking to cut out. But I think we were in Matthew Selt's corner at the interval. You would have been saying to him, look, Ronnie's not playing as well as you would have thought or feared. Just have patience. You still have time. That you are getting chances. You don't have to force it. You just need to be more clinical with the chances you're going to get.
5. Six.
This a very important visit to the table for Matthew Selt. Took a few sketchy ones on pre-interval. But another day may have gave him a different result. But so far, the plan has not worked. Has to respond. Ideally wants to keep Ronnie on 3
11.
for as long as possible. But after that good opening red that
12.
Matt knocked in off Ronnie's break, this is a good chance. 3 reds you can see there clearly in open play before he needs to have any aspirations of going into the pack. In an ideal world, he'd like to remove
90.
the reds just left and above the black. Leave the one to the right where it is, so that he can go into those pack of reds knowing that he'll be on that bottom red. That's just looking a good few shots ahead.
Punch.
Well, he's okay. Just got top side of the blue, which was important. And now he's perfect on this red to leave himself the nice angle on the black.
25. 26.
So into the reds. Played it at a controlled pace. Didn't want to even risk a possibility of not being on this red to the right corner. He is on it, but he may not have pushed all that many reds out with it. So still a little bit of work to do.
34. 41.
Of course, Matthew Selt this season, the new co-host with Mark Watson and Stephen Hendry on the World Snooker Tour Snooker Club podcast. New episodes available for you wherever you download your podcast. And the episode that Matthew was involved in, I listened to the other day while I was practicing myself, and Mark asked the question, like, what are your goals for the season, Matt?
42.
Do you set yourself any targets for the beginning of the campaign, as Matt plays a really poor positional shot there? Matt's response wasn't necessarily, you know, win an event or get to semi-finals, whatever that may be. He set himself a specific target to score heavier. He wants to make more centuries. And obviously, if you're making the centuries, the results will probably take care of themselves. I just wonder if that's played a part in his approach today. He's trying to get in, be very aggressive, almost too aggressive. That's a good pot. And he deserves to be on already. He is. That's a very good shot from Matthew Selt. Well played.
46.
Yeah, he's done all the hard work. Now it's just a question of good cue ball control. Just maintaining his concentration.
47.
One of the other things that Matt mentioned on that podcast actually was about the conditions and just how long it's taken him to get used to playing out there on table 1 and table 2. It's a different setup, isn't it?
54.
Than the outside tables, the lights, the cameras, everything. You know, he's been a pro for a long time now, but it's amazing that that still is something that he struggles to adapt to.
55. Sixth.
Yeah, he was referring to the lighting itself is obviously a lot brighter. But also then playing him under the big lights and the pressure and the tension that brings. And this has been a very good contribution. And an important one. This just reiterates the point I was making earlier. He's in good form.
68.
Doesn't have to take any unnecessary risks. The time to be aggressive and positive is when you're in amongst them.
69.
And all this coming from Ronnie's break-off.
74. $75.
Yeah, it was imperative that Matt made the most of this chance, and he has done. This by far his biggest contribution of the game so far. I would love to clear the table. He'd certainly
82.
like to make the century one of his targets, as I just mentioned.
83.
Edging closer to 200 career centuries, Matthew Selt.
$90. $91.
Nicely played, maximum left-hand
96.
side on the cue ball to swing the white in and out of baulk.
$97.
So this blue for the ton. In what's a very important frame for Matthew Selt to win. Keeps his hopes alive in this match. Brilliant contribution straight off Ronnie O'Sullivan's break. Just letting him know that he's still there. Matthew Selt with that wonderful break of 102 reduces the deficit in this match. 3 frames to 2, Ronnie O'Sullivan leads.
From 6. Measure 30 to break.
2019 Indian Open champion Matthew Selt breaking off in another big frame. The frame that will see him level this match up should he win it. Very well constructed century break in the previous, just what the doctor ordered for Matthew Selt. He's had a relatively good start to the season. Was unbeaten at Championship League, the first event of the campaign. Of course, qualified for this. Beating Ian Burns, Joe O'Connor, Hamid Mir and Gong Chenzi along the way to set up a date with Ronnie today. Qualified for Wuhan, beat Liam Pullen 5-2. The only loss he's had of the season so far was to the hands of Ben Wollaston in the British Open, 4-3, so pretty solid start for Matthew Selt. And a good run this week. We was just chatting, myself and Fergal. It's very important to him, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, if he wins today, that puts him in the top 32. Which means he'd be seeded then for the English Open. Wouldn't have to go and qualify for it. And also potentially an easier first match when he does. So I'd say it's foremost in his mind, but just a nice little bonus, make it a bit easier. Another tournament to look forward to. And of course, speaking of top 32, more wins, could more or less guarantee being the top 32 for the Grand Prix event in the new year on the one-year rankings. Difficult enough pass, plus he would have been slightly distracted by not knowing exactly where the white was going to go. That's probably why he erred on the thin side. That was his priority, to get the white up the table, even though he has left this red for Ronnie.
You may think he was a way away from the pot there, but the cue ball was of more importance to him, making sure he played that with a lot of right-hand side to straighten the cue ball up to ensure he went back to the balk area.
Getting the referee to clean the white. Wouldn't say that's because he's spotted something on the white. Or just probably a little bit fearful of getting good contact. So it requires a good bit of cueing. Particularly if he's going to play it slowly for the black.
It's not very often at all you see that. You can see Matthew Selt put his mini butt on the end of his cue for that one. Close to the side cushion, coming at an angle, obviously felt he didn't have enough cue. But that added bit of weight on the back of the cue makes a big difference. He likes to do things his own way, doesn't he, Matt?
Yeah,
Foul, and then
something I'll have to try, but it seemed
Makes
totally
sense.
unnecessary. Thought it was a smarter choice of shot by playing it up for the blue, just made the pot a little bit easier, and also, as we've seen, if you did miss the pot, more likely to get away with it. But yeah, I'd be interested to see or hear Matt's thinking on why you would do that. I've never seen it before. Matt not wanting to get involved in the stalemate, potential re-rack, prepared to give Ronnie a look at this red. And Ronnie will only play this red if he feels get it out of the way, those ball colours. Again, no guarantee at all where the red or reds were going to go. Still a little bit unfortunate. Reds went so close to the corner pocket. And from this red, once he's come down and had a look, he can play it slowly enough without any great risk. And beyond the black.
One.
Played it slow, but because he hit the red thicker than he wanted, there wasn't much pace on it when it came off the cushion. He'd be disappointed because he felt the pot was more or less a certainty. He could give greater priority to the white and just try and judge that position for the black. And just to regroup, try and find a good safety and potentially put Ronnie in trouble.
Minus set to one.
I think the longer this match goes on and the closer Matthew Selt can get to Ronnie O'Sullivan, the less reckless he will become, for sure. We saw a couple of shots early on in this match that you have to question. But as he gets closer with the possibility of beating Ronnie, he will, of course, try and do anything he can to get the win. And that's a brilliant shot from Ronnie O'Sullivan, acknowledged by the crowd. That was a beautiful line he found.
Yes, slightly digging down, tracer right-hand side, just to turn it over. Then judged the pace of the line brilliantly. Matt will also have to judge pace and line well here.
Trying to come 2 cushions across the face of the blue.
Finishes up off a quick.
Foul and a miss. Run outside of 4.
Yeah, no harm done, I don't think.
Well, is there enough angle on this red for Ronnie to just nip into it? Maybe screw the cue ball up where can't leave too much for Matt. I don't think there is. Just a little bit too difficult. Didn't need to make too much of an adjustment, Matthew Selt. Just a hair more pace.
Foul.
Oh,
Miss.
goodness me. Look at how
Run outside of
close
4.
he's got there. Well, I'm surprised that Ronnie's even looking at that, because surely, even if Matt hits the red, he's going to be playing that shot anyway, so he may just try and milk him for a few more points.
I was curious there. What was Ronnie hoping for? Hoping to do?
Get him tighter behind the yellow. Careless to not leave him touching. Well, I was about to say he'd do very well to play the exact same shot again, and that's pretty much what he's done. Just glanced off the red as he's gone down. Not much of an adjustment needed for Matt there, so no damage done. Yeah, that a very nice shot from Matt. Just shy of a little bit of pace to get Ronnie in behind the yellow. That had to be thin.
Missed hit there from Ronnie. Anxious look coming across before he goes back to his chair to see, is this red available to the right corner? Bided his time well, Matt. He's won that little control game. Just going down to put that small extension on. Slightly awkward cueing those reds just underneath his waistcoat there. Caused a little bit of a problem. Doesn't have to do anything with the white. Just literally just pot the blue. Guaranteed to be on a red.
Six. 7.
the pink out of action. Be keen as soon as possible to get the reds around the black. Possible if he played a little area. Could have a choice of 2 or 3 reds to the right corner and potting them. Then would have the black available to the left, but still a couple of shots away. Would like to be
10.
ideally straight on the blue after this red. Not sure he can hold.
Yeah. 11.
Just taking a little time out, getting the white clean, just planning his attack. The red beside the pink, I think that's available to the left corner. Doing that, that might free up the pink to the right corner.
$16.
Well, if he's dead straight on this red, he can push through for the black, and he is. You can see no problems there. Doesn't want to leave himself badly hampered, and he has
17.
done. Not sure he can get enough on this cue ball to prevent the white travelling beyond the red closest to the black and not being on the red to right corner. He's got to get very high over the top of this white. Makes it very missable. From there, you just want to float the black in, but you can't do that because the white will go beyond the red. He's got to play this with a little bit of pace, probably, to just play the little cannon. And it made the difference. Anywhere but there. Either side of those 2 reds and he was fine, he was away. But that one poor positional shot to leave himself there has cost him. When you're queuing down over 2 balls, it's hard enough over 1 ball, but when there's 2, you have to get really high over the top of the white, raise the butt of the cue as high as you can, which almost takes the black out of your vision. Just relying on the line you've selected.
One. Six.
Just checking that when he pots this red, the pink's available.
7.
Clearly is. Like to bring the black into play, but not going to be too simple to go on the black. Ideal on another red.
13.
It's certainly a bonus
14.
that pink wasn't able to go back on its spot. It looks like it can just pass the red. This makes it a far better chance.
$20. 21.
This feels like a big visit for Ronnie O'Sullivan. One that will potentially just take the sting out of this match.
27.
Again, he's just
28.
cruising, isn't he? Just floating around the table, just doing enough.
$34.
Great shot.
35.
Purposefully screwing off the two reds to promote them. Beautiful control. Perfectly executed.
After all that, though, unexpected
Well,
miss.
that's 35.
Even though the white had to travel up and down the table, still a fairly simple pot for him. And again, he'd be frustrated. Looked like he'd turned the momentum and dynamics of this frame around. Keep him at this other chance. Again, the longest frame of the match. Certainly the most important.
One.
Yeah, you can see the right-hand side. He put on the cue ball there to get it to run off the second cushion. Just lacked a little bit of pace. Gonna leave him this pink. And just looking to find out where does he want to be on the red. To, I think, ideally screw over towards the black. Has to be mindful of that black as bridge hand.
He's got an option here now. Pot this red and potentially play onto the
7.
black. That will free up the pocket for the red down the rail.
8.
Well, he'll take that. Just promoted it a fraction. May can attack the red again here. It's a very precise place of the table that Matt would have to leave that cue ball to pot this red he's closest to. Just trying to work things out here. Needs both reds. He's got a little bit of angle that he could go into it again. Just push it on. The blue is a problem ball.
$15. Minus out of 15.
Possibly taking a little bit of a risk out there. May have left an open goal for Ronnie to lay up in behind this blue. Priority, get the object ball safe. Just handed control back to Ronnie from his previous shot, Matt.
a difficult pot, and that's why he played it as a shot to nothing. Need the pace to get the white back down the table. That miss-hit safety from Ronnie has given Matt a chance. Just coming down to see. He'd love that red to pass the yellow. Yeah, you can see Ronnie mouthed to himself, bad shot. Yeah, I'm not sure why. He's digging down, trying to force an angle. He felt sure if he potted, he'd have some sort of a shot on the pink to get back down for that red.
He's definitely there for the taking, Ronnie. And Matt will know that. He'll have picked up on the signs so far this morning.
Yeah, and that can add to the pressure when you have that chance. Because not every time you play Ronnie O'Sullivan, despite your best efforts, will you have a chance to beat him. Again, Matt literally will have to be millimetre perfect to pot this and get position. If he goes for the red. Yeah, exactly, the red that had the graphic far too risky. That red had an element of safety. And it's still a very good pot. Played that well. Didn't have much angle. Just powered up the table. 2 points ahead.
Selt 8.
Yeah, not a red. I expected him to miss. We're not already expected himself to miss.
Yeah, he's gone a little bit scrappy now. Both players missing one too many. Quite often after matches, even the matches he's won, Ronnie O'Sullivan, he can be quite critical over his performance. Obviously, he's a massive perfectionist. I can't imagine he'll be all that pleased with how he's played so far today. And you'd probably believe it. Usually you take what he says with a pinch of salt. But you can see a little puff of the cheeks there. It's a struggle for him out here today. And Matthew Selt has to just try and steady himself here. He's got a real opportunity in this match, I feel, to get a big, big scalp. Well, I suppose there's no real bigger scalp, is there, than beating Ronnie O'Sullivan, particularly in China, who, or where, he's so comfortable with playing.
Yeah, Matt just coming across there. See exactly where he'd like to be on the yellow. Just needs yellow, green and brown. I feel this is the key shot. Yeah, they can just screw back. Leave himself a little angle on the green to naturally pot it and go towards the brown. It's a very significant frame. If he wins it, puts him right back in the match. Yeah, you might have heard him say, can't pot a ball now with the rest. And even if you are struggling with the rest, you shouldn't miss that shot. Easy pot, easy positional play. How costly might that shot be? Not just in the frame, but the context of the match.
Yeah, that was a really poor miss. Bad miss from Matthew Selt. Didn't expect it. Fancied him to knock it in and win the frame there. So Ronnie O'Sullivan from nowhere, really, with a chance to actually win this frame.
5.
As I say, this will really take the sting out of this match. Matthew Selt will feel like he's missed a trick. The pot, I suppose, made a lot easier, that yellow, by the fact he didn't have too far to travel with the cue ball.
9.
Just had to get a shot on the green and he's missed the yellow. And playing into an area there, Ronnie, he couldn't have really wished for a much better outcome. Yeah,
14.
nicely played. He was perfect on that blue to be able to play that shot. So just this pink required for Ronnie O'Sullivan to go within 1. And in it goes, and there's the crowd of come on, Ronnie. There's plenty of support, as there is everywhere for him. They all want to see him book his place in the semi-finals, and he's 1 away from doing that. Matthew Selt missed a trick there, missing that yellow, but it's Ronnie O'Sullivan who steps in and does the rest. Goes within 1, 4 frames to 2.
Frame 7. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
The greatest of all time, Ronnie O'Sullivan, breaking off in what he hopes is the last frame of this match. 4-2. He leads Matthew Selt. Won everything there is to win in this game, Ronnie, and he'd love to get his hands on the trophy come Sunday and become the first ever Xi'an Grand Prix champion. Another good pot from Matthew Selt from deep in balk. That type of shot has become so key in the modern game, to be able to knock that pot in and get the first opportunity, the first scoring opportunity of the match, or the frame, sorry. And it's important for Matthew Selt to try and get in as quickly as possible because, as you can see, he's pretty much got to play perfect snooker now. He can't afford to make the mistakes he has done so far today.
Yeah, the last time he pot that red a couple of frames ago, he made a century. Again, you can see where he put the tip of his cue. He'd love to have the white there. From that black. Go into the pack, or even if he wanted to play the red beside it. Yeah, just, you could see there, he addressed the white in a couple of different positions. He's not convinced he can get exactly where he wants. Might go up for the blue.
5.
Even felt going up for the blue, he had to be a little bit too precise. He's going to work his way down. A couple of reds he can play for. One into the right hand, left corner. Yeah, that bit of applause tells you he's on this red. That red directly above the black is the crucial shot for this whole frame. If you can leave the white more or less where it is now, and potting that red, he's guaranteed to open the reds. If you can control it for the black, be a brilliant chance. Just ran on a little bit extra.
17. 18.
The new red that's bottom of the pack, you could do something similar if you can get on it. Yeah, I think he's just looking at there. So plan B.
But this now a much more difficult shot to actually get the cue ball
Number
out
5.
of there. He may be topping it through. He may go a little lower and try and stun the cue ball through a little gap and go up for pink or blue, but choosing to bounce the cue ball over the pack. We saw a very clever shot like that from Kyron Wilson yesterday, and Matthew Selt there playing that one very nicely. Digging a little bit lower into the cue ball with pace, cueing down on it, allows for that response. Get the cue ball jumping over the reds, a clever shot. And on the subject of Kyron Wilson, you may have heard a wave of applause from across the other side of the arena. He is the first man through into the semi-finals. Kyron Wilson, the world champion, 5-1. He's just defeated Juicy. The winner of this match will play Kyron tomorrow in the semi-finals. Nice shot again from Matt Selt there. Bit of a stretch, that one, having to play it with a trace of left-hand side. the wrong side, really, for that type of shot. Played it nicely.
42.
Back in prime position.
$49. 50. Yep.
In amongst the balls today, certainly been positive and decisive. Not looking for problems. Not making any shot bigger than it is. It's also been a good contribution when you consider he must have been disappointed to lose the last frame with the chances, and in particular the missed yellow that he
55.
had.
56.
But I think the last couple of years, probably working with Chris Henry, has helped. Just more even temperament. Staying that nice and calm, focused.
$61. 62.
And just this back now, put him 69 ahead. Obviously loving right after it, just to totally put the frame to bed. And that's why he's given this shot an extra second or two. Very easy to switch off. I think just because your opponent needs a snooker, leave the frame one. Nice appreciation from the crowd.
69.
Just looking at the possibility of that a plant. That'll make things a bit easier. Looks good.
7.
An excellent break from Matt Selt. Again, it just proves the point I mentioned earlier. Even if you're Ronnie O'Sullivan, if you leave a red from the break off, don't be surprised if a top pro wins the frame. Last two frames now, he's left that red. Last two frames, he's been punished and punished
75.
severely.
Yeah, the frame after the interval, Matthew Selt got
76.
straight in from that shot, compiled a break of 102. He's looking for something similar here. Again, a goal of Matthew Selt this season is to score heavier. He wants to make more century breaks.
83.
So he'll continue to keep
84.
himself in the zone here as he mops these final few balls up. Doesn't matter how good you are, what reputation you have in the game,
89.
when you're sat in your chair, there's nothing you can do, and that's what Matthew Selt has got to continue to do, to keep Ronnie confined to his seat. We thought he'd have to play near perfect snooker if he's going to turn this one around, and this has been a perfect frame for Matthew Selt.
97. 98.
So that blue cements the century break, but the total clearance still on, and Matthew Selt will again be focused to clear these remaining 6 colours.
105.
Although with that shot he may struggle. Choosing to pot the pink obviously is a foul, but more than good enough, that break of 105 from Matthew Selt to go along with his break of 102 in the 5th frame. He's keeping his hopes alive here in Xi'an, trailing Ronnie O'Sullivan 4 frames to 3.
Nine. $14. 15. 22.
Again, Matt continuing on from where he left off in the last frame.
$23.
Similar to the last frame, these choice of reds at the bottom of the pack. If he gets on one of them nicely, be able to pot that, guaranteed a split and still stay on the black.
So,
I think it's worth playing the red closest to the pack. Just all depends on the angle, whether he can run through, or does he need to stun into the pack to disturb them and then nearly flop out the other side. And just developed another one out to the left-hand side. We'll have to go into them again. But looking very focused, totally engrossed in what he's trying to do, not aware of the score or his opponent.
$38.
Looking to drop this red in and play the black into the same pocket. Again, depending on the angle of the black, he could go into the pack from the black, or then play for that red. I mentioned a couple of moments ago, going from there.
$39.
Well, he's not ideal on this blue. If he's straight enough, he may can come back for the red into the right corner pocket, past the pack. Just looking at the contact he's going to make on the cushion to see if he can get there. Been a long time since Matthew Selt has been in the final four of a ranking event. To go back to the run to the final he had in the 2022 Turkish Masters. Good pot again from Matthew Selt. He's shown us some good battling qualities here. Digging in, digging deep.
44.
That's what he had to do. And the last frame and a half have been very impressive from Matthew Selt, keeping Ronnie right there in his seat.
$45.
Looks to come far enough on the blue. Looks like he can play this right into the pink. Should open them everywhere. Didn't catch it, ideally full in the face. When it came off the cushion, you can see this little bit of side, and it worked out well. Just this glance on that red there.
Yeah, he might have been on nothing had he not got that contact to the red, but look at the result. Absolutely perfect now, Matthew Selt, to win this frame.
51.
With a real possibility of a third century of this match now. A third century from him.
56. $57.
Matt, very good friends with Stephen Hendry over the years.
64.
Stephen Hendry wouldn't be
65.
a bad man to talk to if you're looking to improve your break building. Again, similar to the last frame, he's taken these very
71.
well.
$72.
And in no time at all, Ronnie O'Sullivan looks on as he watched Matthew Selt not missing all of a sudden. Massive frame obviously coming up, a deciding
79.
frame for a place in the semi-finals, but from what we've seen from Ronnie O'Sullivan so far today, and this week really, you know, he's going to have to find another level
80.
because Matthew Selt certainly has.
$87. 88.
The possibility of a third century for Matthew Selt would be more than good enough to
94.
win any match against
95.
anyone. but he's still got another frame to win. Oh, as he misses the black, would you believe it? No third century of the match for Matthew Selt, but a 95 to go along with his 102 and 105 breaks already. He's forced a decider here in the Xi'an Esports Centre. 4 apiece, a one-frame shootout for a place in the semi-finals. A warm applause from the crowd as the players both re-enter the arena. Ronnie O'Sullivan and Matthew Selt fist pumping as they set off with a one-frame shootout ahead of them for a place in the semi-finals. It was 10 years their first meeting. Ronnie O'Sullivan against Matthew Selt in the 2014 UK Championship. Matthew Selt has never got close to beating Ronnie O'Sullivan. Could this be the day?
That 3 times before Ronnie left him that red, Matt had potted. Twice he won the frame from it. That was a little bit more difficult, a bit thinner. There's pressure on this red.
Well, that's a brilliant pot from Ronnie O'Sullivan. That red was very tough and made even tougher by the fact that cue ball was always going through the reds. Now, one good pot here, and this could be a glorious opportunity. He's given us no reason to believe that he may come through this match, albeit he got to 4 first. He's not played all that well, Ronnie O'Sullivan, today. He's not scored like we often see him do, but he's won the odd frame that have been close. What a time to turn it on.
8.
And if anything, you just get a sense that Matt's 2 great breaks has inspired him rather than intimidated him.
$13.
Throughout his
14.
career, he's won 170 deciders, works out about 62%.
$21.
Can you just feel a couple of shots? See that cluster of 4 above that red. You feel that's going to be crucial to deciding this frame and match, as he's trying to work out a plan of attack and solve the puzzle. There's an option here if you could get parallel to black. Depending on this angle, could he stun into, maybe even beside the pink there's a little cluster of 4. Could disturb those to be on the one to the right corner.
Any snooker player will tell you that
29.
when you've not been playing at your best for the duration of a match, it's very difficult to just turn it on
So,
with the flick of a switch. Ronnie O'Sullivan took the opportunity to leave the arena after that previous frame and may have had words with himself in the mirror, as we probably all have down the years in the bathroom, but the best players, they always manage to find a way to just reignite that form, and Ronnie O'Sullivan straight in this frame. A little bit of work still to be done.
Yeah, same
36.
issue we had a couple of minutes ago. I'm not sure what his plan is. Maybe the red to the right-hand side. Does that go? Uncharacteristic miss, but more
36.
importantly, uncharacteristic that he left himself in that position where he had to pot it and relying on a good split. Usually by the time he's got to 30 or 40, he's already developed all the balls in the open. Again, nobody more pleased with that than Matt. Even more pleased if this plant is on.
One.
That's just come up the wrong side, really, of the pink. Wanted to be a little straighter on it. Now the cue ball is travelling away from the reds. Just taking his time to figure out where best to leave his cue ball. You know, Ronnie O'Sullivan in first in this frame. Matt may have been sat in his chair, almost resigned to the fact that, as he so often has in the past, Ronnie, a one visit in a decider, possibly fancied not getting a chance, Matthew Selt, but he has got that chance now. At least to say he was involved in this deciding frame. And that was a very tough red he's took on there and played it nicely. The extra bit of weight on the back of the cue, not necessarily something you're all that used to playing with. Played it well enough.
So,
in the next few shots, he'll be looking for a path to try and get into that little cluster of 4 reds beneath the pink. The obvious ball to go into them would be from the pink. But can he find an angle? He's very straight on this red. He can manipulate a little bit of angle from it. Oh, he's come across that. Didn't like it.
Selt is 13.
Wanted more angle on that red.
Down to this little mini game. Who puts the next red gets the next chance. Let's see about Matthew's reaction. Bad mistake. Should have been nowhere near that middle pocket.
Yeah, and Ronnie, good pot to right middle pocket, trying to get the cue ball far enough over for an angle on this pink, and he has got an angle, but the wrong one to get into those reds. So looking at the two reds nearest the balk area, trying to really nip into that cue ball, catch the screw back early. Made a very good job of that.
7.
So, red colour, he'll be looking for an angle off a colour to get into those reds, knowing that he has got that one remaining red near the balk area as an out shot should he need it, to then re-find an angle. He's going to have to play a cannon to those reds at some point.
Eight.
Does have the brown here. Just wants to miss the middle pocket. Little touch of left-hand side on the cue ball. It looks good. Brilliant shot from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Left himself in an area where he was always going to have an angle to play that shot, and he played it perfectly, and that now surely the winning shot of this match.
It'd
be very interesting to hear Ronnie O'Sullivan's thoughts on how he feels he's played during this game. It makes no difference, because he is going to be through to another semi-final.
26.
This red to seal the deal.
27.
All things considered, it's been a good day at the office for Ronnie. He's got the job done. He's got the W, and that's all that matters. Matthew Selt will be bitterly disappointed. A very good comeback. He's putting a good shift himself, to be fair. You can see the disappointment just leaving his body there, showing us exactly how he's feeling, deflated. But he's never gone close to even beating Ronnie, and today he has done. Not quite managed to get the job done, Matthew Selt, but a good week nonetheless.
35.
Well, that red doesn't go in, but the handshake will be incoming. Ronnie O'Sullivan, as he so often does, finds a way to win the rocket into another ranking event semi-final. 5 frames to 4. He's beaten Matthew Selt here on table 1. Only a couple of breaks of 50 plus to talk of from Ronnie O'Sullivan today. Not the best performance you'll ever see from him, but it makes no difference. He's into the semis, and that's all that matters. That semi-final will take place tomorrow, and Ronnie O'Sullivan will take on the world champion Kyron Wilson, as the crowd are absolutely loving this. Ronnie O'Sullivan, a star wherever he goes in the world,